is titled, "Am I the a-hole for not wanting to spend a lot of money in my sister's second wedding?" Before I begin, it's not that I'm not excited. I am. I'm more frustrated at the fact that she doesn't seem to understand that this isn't the first go-around. My 32 female, middle sister 32 female, was married at 25 and divorced 3 years later. We had a large, 150-person wedding. My family spent a lot of money hosting the wedding, and I personally spent a lot of money hosting various wedding events, bridal shower, bachelorette. When the first marriage was ending, I was there for my sister every step of the way. Went to meet with lawyers with her, was constantly on the phone offering a shoulder to cry on, and have her come and stay with me for a weekend when she just needed to get away. When she began dating her current fiancé, we were thrilled that she had met him, as he is a wonderful person and brings out the best in my sister. We joked around about when he would propose, and were thrilled when he did. We are barely into the wedding planning process round 2, and she's already expecting this wedding to be bigger and better than the last. She sent a list of places she would like to go for her bachelorette party, along with a list of 15 people she wants to be invited. Never mind the fact that we are in the middle of a global pandemic, which will hopefully be much more under control by the time the wedding comes around. But I already spent close to $2,000 on her first bachelorette party. Don't me, she was the first of the friends group to get married. I was making good money and wanted her to have an amazing time. I have no problem doing something on a smaller scale. A day at a winery, which she loves, or a spa day followed by dinner. But I'm not going to put up a lot of money for this. She's already asked us when we are hosting a bridal shower, and has made small comments about gifts she's really looking forward to getting. I will get them something, but the gift I got for her first wedding was broken by her during a fight with her ex-husband. Waterford crystal champagne glasses. Our youngest sister, 30 female, is on the same page as me. She has 2 young kids and currently isn't working due to COVID, so they are relying on her husband's income. The bride knows I do very well for myself financially. It is always hinting that I should be sharing the wealth, especially around the holidays. She sends us dresses for the bridal party, and they are $250 before alterations. I told her that that seemed like a bit much for that, and she got mad and said it was her vision. I feel horrible for my parents, who have offered some financial assistance, but she wants more, and they have tried to explain that this is her second time and it should be smaller. She keeps saying her first wedding didn't count. I want to be a supportive older sister and help her out, but saying that her first wedding didn't count really upset me because my bank account would say otherwise. I have tried talking to her, but I am just a bitter older sister. So Reddit, am I the a-hole for not wanting to spend a lot of money on her second wedding? Now for the top comments. Not the a-hole. I mean, what? She's getting married, not you. Help her if you can. But if any of my siblings said share the wealth, they'd be getting a year's supply of horse manure delivered to their house. Not the a-hole. If she wants a big grand wedding, again, she can pay for it. Your family was generous enough to fork over thousands for her first wedding, and no one is under obligation to do so again, or God forbid a third time. With the state of the world, I'm sure people's finances are not the same, and there are more important things to worry about, like mortgages or feeding children, versus paying for your sister's second wedding. So tell her to take her entitlement and shove it if she argues. Not the a-hole. If she wants a big fancy wedding, she can pay for the big fancy wedding. Not the a-hole. Her decision to marry doesn't entitle her to everyone's money. It's not about money or a wedding. It's about the marriage itself. Your sister sounds exhausting. Now for the next story. Am I the a-hole for attending a wedding I'd been uninvited from? My brother, 28 male at the time, married Maggie, 29 female, in 2019 pre-COVID. Maggie is my 25 female at the time, ex-boyfriend's 25 male, sister. They met as a result of X and I being in a relationship. X and I dated for 3 years and broke up in 2018 after he cheated. He is engaged to the other woman currently. Obviously, I was hurt at first, but neither of us were happy and this was a chance to get out. I had no contact with X, never spoke to the other woman and minded my own business. I also didn't treat Maggie any differently because she's his sister. To me, she's just my brother's partner and I always acted like a friend to her. Maggie was definitely a bridezilla. After the engagement, she took control of wedding planning and made all of the decisions. The only thing my brother chose were the suits for himself and the groomsmen, although even then it had to be in a Maggie-approved style and color. Maggie sat me down one day and told me that she didn't want there to be any family drama on her wedding day. She'd spoken to X, and apparently he said he'd feel uncomfortable if he had to be around me at the wedding, especially as his fiancée would be there too. This surprised me because, like I said, I didn't talk to him and was genuinely over it. I reassured Maggie that she need not worry, and she said she'd made a tough decision to uninvite me, and she hoped I understood that it was her day and she just wanted it to be a happy one. Excuse me? It's my brother's day too, and I want to see him get married. I called my brother afterwards. He was aware of Maggie's choice and he wanted me to be there, but he didn't want to upset Maggie by saying no to her. I love him, but he has the backbone of a slug and rarely stands up for himself. My parents were furious at how unreasonable Maggie was being. Since they know full well I wouldn't have made a fuss about X. They talked to her, but she wouldn't budge. Not your wedding, not your choice. I ignored Maggie's request and turned up at the wedding with my parents anyway, and it was a lovely ceremony. There wasn't a wedding meal for me, but I nipped out to grab dinner from a cafe before returning to the reception and having a great time, dancing with my brother, drinking, and just enjoying myself. I didn't acknowledge X or his fiancée once. I didn't need to. I was there for my brother. He told me he was so happy I'd attended, and it wouldn't have been the same without his little sister. Maggie didn't kick off, but she gave me dirty looks the whole time, and I could see her whispering to people, who would then also give me dirty looks. After the day, she blew up at me for undermining her and ruining her wedding. Nothing happened. She just didn't enjoy it because she spent it feeling angry. I know, it's horrible to crash a wedding, but I feel like I had a right to be there as it was my brother's wedding too. Am I the a-hole? Now for the top comments. He didn't want to upset Maggie by saying no to her. I love him, but he has the backbone of a slug and rarely stands up for himself. Not the a-hole, but I'm sorry to say your brother is. Having a slug's internal structure is an okay excuse for some transgressions. This is not one of them. Maggie is BA, beyond a-hole. She broke the scale here. I thought the same. Her brother should have put his foot down and stood up to his demanding wife. Not a-hole, but beware. Maggie's going to ruin your family. Her disrespectful behavior goes way beyond being a bridezilla. That's controlling, selfish, and unreasonable. And your brother is clearly a jellyfish for letting her get away with it. Wait until they bring a child into this world. She'll use the kid as a pawn, just as she did this BS wedding invitation. I'd be lying if I said I wasn't concerned for my brother. Don't get me wrong. He seems happy, but you never know what goes on behind closed doors. So I hope she isn't being manipulative and controlling towards him on a daily basis. He's very shy and easy to walk all over, I guess. So I'm praying she doesn't take advantage of that. Everyone sucks here. Your ex for cheating and then asking his sister not to invite you when he was the one who had a problem and should have been uninvited. The sister for uninviting you. Your brother for not having his family's back. You for crashing the wedding. Haha, that's a fair judgment. We could all do with improving our communication skills. Lol. The next story is titled, Am I the a-hole for uninviting my sister to my wedding for what she told my fiancé? My male 27, fiancé female 25, has an obvious permanent burn scar from an accident that caused her mother, her only parent, to pass away from injury. My fiancé had a long recovery. It's been 7 years. The scar is on her collarbone. It goes down her chest but isn't showing, unless she's wearing scoop/square tops. She often wears hoodies/jackets to cover up. She puts this cream, I don't know what ladies call it, but it's supposed to tone skin color or something? I'm not sure, but my fiancé calls it foundation that is 1 degree brighter than her skin color. I absolutely adore her. She's pretty, smart, ambitious, and the list goes on. What happened was unfortunate, and I'm glad she's at peace with herself and more confident. My family love her. How can they not? She's a member of the family. My mom makes sure she takes part in every family function, and things like shopping and decorating other things. However, my sister made comments about my fiancé's scar several times. I've called her out on her behavior several times to get her to stop, because she was hurting me before my fiancé with her backhanded and insensitive comments. I told my fiancé she had every right to cut my sister out and not deal with her BS, but she has been forgiving and respectful of my entire family. Our wedding is in February. My fiancé went shopping for the wedding dress. This is where the issue started. My fiancé showed the wedding dress to my sister. I didn't see it, but I was told it was a spaghetti strap dress. My fiancé likes this stuff. Anyways, my sister saw it and went nuts. She started criticizing her choice and said that she should have gotten a high neck or a jewel wedding dress to cover up the scar. She argued with my fiancé about it. I went to my family's house and I confronted her. I yelled at her after she told me my fiancé needed to return the dress and get a proper one, so that guests won't focus on her burn scar and use it as a topic of conversation and gossip. I told her that she's not invited to our wedding. She isn't welcome to my wedding with this entitled attitude of hers and her insensitivity and disrespect. We argued for half an hour, then I left. In exactly an hour, my mom and dad called and berated me, saying my sister was crying after I uninvited her, and that I had no right to uninvite her. She's my sister, and she was just trying to help out and give an advice and avoid any unnecessary drama at the wedding. My mom said my fiancé can keep the dress, but suggested to wear a bridal shawl as a neutral solution. I stopped responding to my mom's calls and texts after that. Family members were upset my sister was uninvited and wanted me to invite her again because this will make family look bad in front of outsiders and guests. Now for the top comments. Not day haul. Uninvite anyone who insults your fiancé in my opinion. I'm definitely standing my ground. This is mine and my fiancé's big day. Not day haul. Your mom is ridiculous to suggest your fiancé needs to compromise with anyone on her wedding dress. OP is not day haul. His sister and mother, now those two surely are. That rotten apple didn't fall from the tree. What a small person your sister is. Your fiancé's burn scar is a badge of courage. I work in surgery, and I've done many burn reconstructions. That is no easy road to go down, and your fiancé should be praised for going through all that and coming out the other side with her gracious nature intact. Your sister owes you and your fiancé a huge apology. Your mother can offer one as well. This ew factor is childish and reprehensible. Not day-haul at all. She sounds jealous of the fiancé. OP, does your sister have a history of criticizing or being rude to your girlfriends? I know a few girls that seem to hate any girls their brothers brought home. And I was always put off by them because it seemed like they resent anyone that took attention away from them for even a split second. Now, for the last story. Am I the a-hole for not inviting my future sister-in-law's boyfriend to our wedding? I, 25 female, happily got engaged to my fiancé, 27 male, on Christmas after dating for 3 years. This wasn't much of a surprise. He and I had planned on getting engaged after I got my divorce. The only surprise was when and how it was going to happen. My first marriage was at 18 and only lasted 8 months before he left me in the hospital half dead. Yes, it was due to abuse. My fiancé and I announced our engagement immediately and we already have our date set. What can we say? We already have location, date, etc. picked out. We plan on January 2022. Hopefully, everything goes as planned with the pandemic. Of course, the first people we told was our families. This includes my in-laws, brother-in-law and his wife, my parents, my sister and her family, and my fiancé's half-sister, Meg. This is where our problem starts. Meg and my fiancé didn't know each other until they were adults, and they still aren't close. We found out a year and a half ago that Meg is dating my ex-husband. We have told her what happened with my ex with proof, but she thinks it's all a lie to make him look bad. Whatever, it's her choice. We'll leave the door open for support, but I do not interact with her. We told her she will be invited to our wedding, but under no circumstance is my ex to come. This didn't go over well. She complained that she had been with him for years, and her significant other will come to her brother's wedding. That I don't get a say, and I wasn't going to pick and choose who family is. This sparked a big fight that ended in me calling her a witch and telling her she could either come without him or not come at all. We are now getting hate from my fiancé's family, saying I'm in the wrong, that they would keep my ex away from me, and everyone else gets to bring their significant other. We have told them this isn't up for debate, that it's our wedding, so it's our choice. We already have people saying they will boycott our wedding. Am I the a-hole for this? I know my significant other would really like his sister to come, but I can't risk my ex being there. I'm starting to feel like the a-hole for causing drama because I probably wouldn't even notice him there. Now for the comments. Not the a-hole in any way, shape, or form. Do not allow anyone to bring your abuser to your wedding. Hire security if necessary. Anyone who would expect that this is not someone you want at your wedding. Congratulations. Hire security regardless. She sounds like she's the type to crash the wedding. Absolutely not the a-hole. And fiancé should handle his own family. If they boycott your wedding because your ex-attacker isn't allowed to come, that says something about what kind of relationship you should maintain with them. But if anyone tries to argue with you, I'd like you to remember that no is a complete sentence. Don't fall into the trap of trying to get them to agree with you. Just maintain your boundary and let them choose whether they want to come in with you or stay outside. The very next person to give you grief needs a history lesson, not the a-hole. No, the person who almost murdered me will not be at my wedding. Truthfully, I would get a permanent restraining order against him. Were criminal charges ever filed? Charges were filed, but he got away with assault. They tried to get him with attempted murder, but they couldn't prove that he had planned it or meant to end me. And that's the end of this video, folks. As always, leave a comment and hit like and subscribe. And if you want more of this content, turn your notification on to get updated on the latest videos. And I'll catch you in the next one. Stay safe.